Hi everyone, thanks for waiting. My name is Kawakami. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm a third-year PhD student at Carnegie Mellon's Human Computer Interaction Institute. I'm excited to share work today on studying up public sector AI, where we've examined how networks of power relations shape agency decisions on AI design and use. This is work in collaboration with Amanda Coston, Hoda Heidari, Kenneth Holstein, and Haiyi. And while I'm presenting this work as an oral talk here at EAAMO', this work is also still a work in progress. I'm currently under review at CSEW, and we're really hoping to improve this work in the coming weeks. So I'd love to hear any feedback that people here might have throughout this talk. Public sector agencies are increasingly adopting AI systems to assist or automate services, for example, in public health, criminal justice, or child welfare. While agencies have been motivated to use these tools to help overcome resource constraints and limitations in human decision-making, in practice, these AI tools have been met with significant contention. As a growing body of research and media suggests, public sector agencies have struggled to deploy AI systems that produce their expected value. For example, Michigan's Unemployment Agency developed MIDAS, an AI-based fraud detection system. The agency stopped using the tool after realizing it falsely flagged over 90% of its cases, something they learned only after the tool was used for over 2 years, impacting thousands of people along the way. Similarly, after deploying an AI-based tool for child maltreatment screening, Allegheny County's Human Service Department has faced significant criticism for exacerbating biases against Black and disabled communities, and is currently undergoing scrutiny from the Justice Department. In the HCI and machine learning research community, researchers have advanced an understanding of why exactly AI systems may fail to produce their intended value, and in turn, how to support improved practices. For example, researchers have discussed how AI tools may be trained to predict outcomes that lack construct or external validity in a given workplace, and propose guidelines to support organizations in interrogating the validity of their AI tools. Researchers have also observed how AI tools may simply fail to fit into workers' existing decision processes, for example, by targeting problem spaces that workers don't actually want help on. And in turn, we've seen a growing set of proposals for more participatory approaches to designing AI systems. Others have also observed how in settings where data sets are embedded with systemic historical biases, attempts to correct for unfairness in ML models may at times inadvertently amplify the very biases they are intended to correct, and suggest that some ideas for AI tools should not be pursued in the first place. So all of these challenges point to a crucial yet under-examined question. How do public sector agencies decide whether to create or adopt new AI tools in the first place? To understand how these decisions are made in practice, it's critical to center the actors who hold the power to shape and inform AI design, adoption, and use decisions. In this work, we borrowed from anthropologist Lauren Nader's 1972 call to study up, reorienting anthropological fields of study around those who have power and responsibility to shape social systems and norms. Recent work in EAAMO'-adjacent communities have urged researchers to reorient studies of algorithmic fairness and machine learning datasets around issues of power, demonstrating the value of studying up technology as a means to uncover broader social and structural challenges impeding responsible design. In a similar spirit as this prior work, in this paper, we study up public sector AI via the perspectives and experiences of agency decision makers who hold decision power over AI design and use. To understand the role of agency decision makers in shaping how AI is designed and used, we specifically asked what factors shape decisions to move forward with a proposed AI project, and what opportunities exist to improve such decision making. To address these questions, we conducted interviews with participants from 3 public sector agencies across the United States. The agencies, on aggregate, have experienced a range of decision-making situations around the creation or use of AI tools. For example, some are currently ideating new forms of AI tools, others have already implemented AI tools, and others have previously deployed and used an AI tool, then decided to no longer use it after deployment. All the agencies focused on providing social services, including services like housing, education, child welfare, and healthcare. On aggregate, we interviewed directors of human service departments, directors and managers of teams responsible for developing AI tools in-house, and researchers and analysts who are involved in building or analyzing AI tools. And in one agency, our contact also connected us to frontline staff who played a role in piloting AI tools, so we also involved in this study. So in total, this means our study involves 6 agency leaders, 6 research and development workers employed in public sector agencies, 2 frontline workers, and 2 frontline leaders. With these 16 participants, we conducted semi-structured and design interviews. The first half of the study, in the semi-structured interview, we asked participants about their background and practices for making decisions around whether to design, deploy, or adopt AI tools. In the second half of the study, we conducted a design activity. On a shared online board with Post-its, we prompted participants to ideate and organize future considerations they believe should guide their decisions in an ideal case scenario. By asking follow-up questions, we further aim to understand how past challenges they faced inspired these desires, and what barriers they currently face when considering these factors now. We analyzed the interview recordings using reflexive thematic analyses. So overall, our analyses surfaced how public sector agencies' power relations and assumptions about other actors, including those situated within the agency, above the agency, and below the agency, collectively shape decisions about how AI is designed, adopted, and used. Given limited time, I'll share just a small handful of these things, cross-cutting these 3 layers. Beginning with this first one and mostly focusing on this first one for this talk. Prior work discussing public sector agencies' decisions around AI adoption often treated agencies as monolithic entities, collectively pushing forth the use of new AI tools. Our findings surface how these depictions often overlook the intra-agency contention that exists amongst workers around these decisions. Participants described how agency workers, including those with relatively high institutional power, like agency leaders and scientists, and frontline workers, held dissenting perspectives on the validity and value of AI tools. And while these workers with higher institutional power advocated for more reflexive practices, like increasing community engagement in their agency, they felt that their perspectives were sometimes ignored or questioned by their colleagues, the majority of whom were more interested in advancing their agency's use of AI tools. For example, one research and development worker told us, when these conversations about AI design have happened in agencies, the outcomes they center tend to be the things the agency are interested in, not the things that the people that are being served by the agency are interested in. And over time, people are tired of me saying, this seems to be all about what works for us. On the other hand, agency leaders and developers promoting the value of new AI tools described that one of the biggest challenges they faced to AI deployment was mitigating frontline workers' concerns towards AI, which they believe to be especially pervasive and persistent. Participants described efforts to convince frontline workers of the value of their AI tools. As one participant described, it seems that no matter how much we voice that the algorithm will help inform their decisions rather than replace people's jobs, that concern is still present. Talking with frontline workers who were involved in piloting and providing feedback on new AI tools, we observed disconnects between the underlying reasons frontline workers had for being concerned and the reasons often attributed to them by the agency leaders and developers. For example, frontline workers expressed frustration that agency workers simply don't understand the impacts of new AI tools on their work processes, and they wanted acknowledgement of the added labor that comes with, for example, maintaining new AI tools. One frontline worker expressed frustration with claims they heard that introducing a new AI model only requires workers to push a button. The frontline worker described that folks are like, it's not hard to push that button, but they don't understand the kind of work that we do. The worker further elaborated that because each agency has different priorities for what data to input into their system, some model features may not be consistently documented in specific agencies. For state-level AI tools, frontline workers are responsible for carefully collecting and inputting data for the model amidst an already very busy schedule and workflow. Our findings also should suggest that agency leaders and AI developers experience constant pressures from other powerful institutions like legal systems and state courts and private companies that collectively shape their AI design adoption decisions. Whereas prior empirical research has tended to focus on understanding factors within the organization as a unit of analysis, our findings aim to help contextualize agencies' interactions with external institutions of higher power. For example, participants shared concerns that their AI tools, while intended to be used by frontline workers, could be misused as evidence for or against the agency in legal court cases, and that this concern in the past impacted a decision about whether to develop a new AI tool. For example, one participant described that their agency received legal advice from attorneys to not develop an AI tool and in order to avoid having it be used against them in a lawsuit. Participants described that these legal pressures were further exacerbated by constrained communication channels, including the lack of proactive interactions with legal experts to inform the creation of new AI tools. And finally, while academic research has proposed a multitude of approaches to expand stakeholder involvement in AI design and development, most participants saw infrastructural and communication barriers between them and the impacted communities. And these barriers created further disincentives for connecting with or involving community members in their AI design process. Participants who were experts in leading agencies or developing technology but had minimal to no experience in community outreach or domain in which they worked felt they were ill-equipped to make decisions about how to involve the community. They were unsure about which groups to reach out to, how to develop sustainable relationships with them, and how to mitigate power imbalances when involving them, and desired support for addressing some of these concerns and questions. And as a result, participants often describe that interactions with the communities they serve were either very limited, heavily constrained, or non-existent. So I want to, in a few moments, open this talk up for a discussion. In our team, we're currently ideating implications and opportunities for better bridging participatory AI design in research and in practice for real-world public sector agencies. For example, this might involve things like how to improve the findability, adoptability, or suitability of participatory approaches to AI design, especially because most of the participants in our study were unaware of the many, many lines of research from this community for participatory AI design. And we're also thinking about ways to better incentivize uptake of participatory approaches to public sector agencies, because for many of the agency leaders, they simply did not see the value of, for example, involving community members or frontline workers early on in the AI design process because they thought they didn't have enough technical expertise to provide input, even though prior research in HCI and ML has shown that non-technical stakeholders are also capable of providing meaningful feedback. But anyways, we're also really curious to learn from this audience whose backgrounds span a wide range of disciplines, what you all think are the most critical implications for improving public sector AI design. So with that said, thank you everyone for your time and attention these past few minutes. Thank you to my co-authors for the collaboration and to the agencies who share their time and experiences with us. I'm happy to open the floor now for any questions, ideas, or feedback that people have.
Can I take one question?
Hi, my name is Dasha. I'm a postdoc at Harvard. I just wanted to hear a bit more about the public agency that chose to stop using the AI tool or roll back development. Like what happened there? It's super curious.
Yeah, it's actually quite a complicated story. So I can't name the agency, but there was another AI tool, a similar model of an AI tool that was deployed at a different agency, and that one received a lot of negative media backlash. I think some political leaders and policymakers also caught attention of it, and potentially, yeah, like there's just a lot of contention around that tool. And so once that hit the media, I believe this agency coincidentally also had a leadership change. So this agency happened to have many directors in a shorter period of time, and the director that was heading the agency at the time happened to be someone who was more concerned about the impact of AI tools on community members, especially marginalized community members. And so that agency leader decided to stop the research team from further using and evaluating the AI tool, and decided to direct them away from it. So I think it really was like a combination of public pressure as well as that one person in the agency advocating for this direction change.
And the press response was in response to a researcher publishing something about.
Yeah, it was researcher publishing something and then talking to the media. So research does have real impact.
Okay, thank you.
Let's thank Anna. Our next speaker will be remote. So meanwhile, by the time we do the setup, if you have any questions for our first speaker, fine, please go ahead.